Hello, my name is Ryan. At the age of 21 years, I'm the owner of one of the most beautiful coffee shops in Texas. But the journey here wasn't easy. I faced years of mistreatment from my stepmother, Kiara. After enduring countless hardships, I was finally kicked out of my own home when I successfully transferred my childhood property under my father's name. Seizing the opportunity, my stepmom kicked me out of the house, and my father did nothing to stop her. I couldn't let it slide like that, so I left them with a surprise they will never forget. My mum's passing when I was only 8 left a void in my life. It was a tough time, and as the years went by, I longed for a mother figure. Little did I know that when I turned 12, my father would introduce Kiara, my stepmother, into our lives. Kiara was a woman with no children of her own. She was younger than my father, and I couldn't help but wonder what had attracted him to her. When the day finally came for me to meet her, her reaction was far from welcoming. Seemed like my very presence in the house annoyed her, and she made sure to make it clear. One evening, as I sat in the living room, contemplating whether I should approach Kiara about our relationship, I mustered up the courage to have a conversation with her. Kiara, can I talk to you for a moment? What is it, Ryan? Make it quick. Well, I was wondering, would it be okay if I called you Mom? You know, like a real mother and son? Oh, right, and that would make me look old. Just call me Kiara, it's more casual. Alright, Kiara. Days turned into weeks, and I quickly learnt that Kiara had no interest in being a nurturing figure in my life. Instead, she seemed to prioritize her own needs and desires. She would often ask me to take on most of the housework, including buying groceries, cleaning the dishes, and maintaining the kitchen. When I asked her why, she would simply say she's busy. Oh dear, I have been waiting for you for so long. Can you quickly clean the kitchen? It looks very messy. I just got home from school and I'm already so tired. Why can't you do it yourself? I'm busy completing my self-care routine. You should be grateful for the opportunity to learn these things. It became a routine. I would come home from school, exhausted and longing for some respite, only to be greeted with a list of chores. While Kiara lounged around in the living room, I would take on the responsibilities, feeling the weight of the unfairness in my chest. As time went on, the pattern of Kiara's behaviour became more apparent to me. I couldn't ignore the fact that she would spend all the money my father provided on lavish shopping sprees and extravagant parties. Frustrated and feeling the weight of my own needs, I mustered up the courage to approach Kiara for a small allowance. One evening, after a long day of managing my studies and house chores, I found Kiara sitting in the dining room, engrossed in her phone. I had to think 1,000 times before approaching her because apparently she had an excuse for everything. Kiara, I was wondering if I could talk to you for a moment. I remember that day when she looked at me. Her expressions always revealed a mix of annoyance and indifference. She would talk in a tone that made it obvious that she's irritated. What is it now, Ryan? Can't you see I'm busy? I wanted to ask you if you could give me a small allowance. I need some money for stationery and maybe a few new clothes. It's been a while since I had anything new. Ryan, I'm sorry, but your father didn't give me any money for you. He expects me to manage with what I have. That felt like another lie coming from her. I couldn't believe that my father hadn't provided for me. It seemed like yet another excuse from Kiara to deny me even the smallest financial support. How would she spend money on shopping for extra items if she'd give some to me? But he gives you money for everything else. How can he not provide for his son? Well, maybe he doesn't think you need anything. You should be grateful for what you have. I am grateful, Kiara, but it's getting tough for me to manage everything on my own. I have my studies and house chores, and sometimes I just need a little extra support. You're just making excuses, Ryan. You're perfectly capable of handling everything. Stop being so dependent. Fine, I'll manage on my own. With that, I turned and walked away. I was just 15 when she was doing and saying all that to me. She was much older than me and relied on my dad for money, but when it came to me, she thought I could manage everything myself and that I was too dependent on her. I retreated to my room, finding solace in my books and the escape they provided from the difficult reality of my home life. In those moments, I felt an even stronger determination to change my circumstances, to find a way to break free from the toxic environment I had endured for far too long. As time went on, I realized that I needed to find my way out of the situation. But I believed that was not possible until I turned a little older. I'd spend more and more time outside of the house. And to my luck, I also found a part-time job at the time. I worked as an employee in a supermarket. That helped me handle my basic expenses. At the age of 20, feeling the weight of responsibility and a desire to help my father, I made the difficult decision to transfer the ownership of our childhood house to him. It was given to me by my mum before she died as a gift for my 7th birthday. I hoped that this act would bring stability and security to our lives. However, when Kiara, my stepmother, found out about the transfer, her reaction was far from what I had anticipated. Kiara sat me down, her expression filled with urgency and manipulation. She began by painting a bleak picture of my father's financial crisis, emphasizing how dire the situation had become. Her words were carefully crafted to evoke sympathy and guilt. "What do you mean, Kiara? Is Dad really in such a financial crisis? I had no idea things were this bad." "Oh, Ryan, it's worse than you can imagine. Your father is drowning in debt. We have mounting bills, loans, and no way out. The only way to save us is by using the house." "The house? That's all we have left from my childhood. Are you saying that transferring that ownership to Dad would help solve everything?" "Yes, Ryan. It's our only lifeline. The house has significant value, and by transferring it to your father, he can use it as a collateral to secure a loan and pay off our debts. It's the only way to prevent complete financial ruin." I never wanted to see Dad in this kind of situation. If transferring the house can provide him with some relief, then maybe it's the right thing to do. "Ryan, you're being so selfless and mature about this. I knew I could count on you to make the right decision. It's for the good of our family." On the day of the registration, I found myself face to face with Kiara, my stepmother, in the living room of their once shared home. The atmosphere was charged with tension as the weight of the situation hung heavily in the air. "Kiara, I wanted to talk to you about something important. I've transferred the ownership of the house to my dad. I thought it would be a good decision for all of us." "What did you just say? Did you transfer the house to your father? When did you do it?" "Today." "You should have asked me to come with you." "I thought it would be beneficial for us all. Dad would have a more secure future and—" Yes, that'd give him and us a secure future. You're so generous, dear." "It's nothing. I just wanted to do it for my dad." "Well, thank you so much, but Ryan, you no longer belong here. This house belongs to my husband now. You were just a burden to us, an unnecessary expense on our lives." "What are you saying? I can't believe this. I never expected you to react this way. I thought we could work things out as a family." "Work things out? Ryan, you've always been a thorn in our side. I've tolerated you for far too long. Now it's time for you to leave and find your place. Don't expect any support from us." I felt a mix of disbelief and hurt as Kiara's words echoed in my ears. It was a stark contrast to the woman who had been living under the same roof with me for years. My father, who had remained silent through the conversation, seemed to offer no resistance to Kiara's hurtful actions. "Dad, don't you have anything to say on this? Do you also want me to get out of the house? This is my house as much as it is yours. Why are you both treating me this way?" "I'm sorry, Ryan. It's Kiara's decision and she knows what's best for you. And my child, this can be a great opportunity for you to learn and grow. You'll step out of the house and learn how to stand on your feet and how to live independently. Every child wants that, right? We are giving you freedom without you asking for it." "But Dad, don't you think I'm too young to be kicked out of the house?" "We are not kicking you out, and you are not that young. This is an age for you to work and pay your expenses without depending on your parents. We can't provide for you forever, my child. We also need to provide for ourselves. Besides that, your expenses do add up a lot. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. You are old enough to live by yourself. Fine. If that's how you want it, I'll leave. But just remember, Kiara, that your true colours have been exposed today. I never asked for much, just a little care and understanding. It took me a lot of time to process that thing. I knew it was coming my way. That was too fast. I gathered my belongings and walked out of the house that had once been my sanctuary. As I closed the door behind me that day, I couldn't help but feel a mixture of relief and determination. I knew that I deserved better than the toxic environment that had consumed my childhood, and now I had the chance to create a life filled with happiness and fulfillment. On my terms. I, however, had already planned my revenge. While transferring the property, I had secretly taken out a loan against the house, a loan I had no intention of repaying. This calculated move would lead to the house being seized by the bank, leaving Kiara and my mother without a place to call home. Filled with a mix of relief and determination, I made a bold decision. With the money from the loan, I decided to take a leap of faith and pursue my long-held dream of opening a small coffee shop. It was my way of turning the page, leaving behind the painful memories and building a new life filled with happiness and fulfillment. With unwavering determination, I poured my heart and soul into my new venture. Opening the coffee shop wasn't easy, but I knew that this was my chance to create something of my own, a place where I could find solace and share my passion for coffee with others. As the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air in my cozy shop, I found a sense of belonging and purpose. The small coffee shop became a haven, not just for me, but for the community as well. People flocked to my shop, drawn not only by the excellent coffee, but also by the warm and inviting atmosphere that I had created. Meanwhile, as time passed, Kiara and my father faced the consequences of their actions. As the bankers seized the house a year after my calculated revenge, I received an unexpected visit from my father and stepmother, Kiara. It was evident from their expressions that they were angry, and their accusatory words immediately filled the room. "Hello, Dad, Kiara. To what do I owe this visit?" "Cut the act, Ryan! We've just lost our home, and it's all because of you!" "Well, isn't that interesting? Losing a home that wasn't rightfully yours to begin with, I simply transferred the property to Dad's name as a gesture of security for his future." "Ryan, you have no idea what you've done. We trusted you and you've ruined everything." "Oh, trust, Dad? That's an interesting word coming from you. You trusted Kiara, didn't you? Even after you made it abundantly clear that I was nothing but a nuisance to her." "Don't you dare blame me for your inadequacies, Ryan." "Inadequacies? Perhaps. But I was a child, Kiara, a child who deserved a caring mother figure, not someone who treated me with such disdain. All the money Dad provided for you was spent on shopping sprees and parties while I had to scrape by." "Ryan, I didn't realize how much you were suffering. I'm sorry for failing you." "It's not just about the past, Dad, it's about the choices you both made. You enabled her behavior, and I couldn't continue living in a toxic environment." "Well, congratulations, Ryan. You got your revenge. Happy now?" "Revenge? No, Kiara. I didn't seek revenge to make myself happy. I did it to break free from the chains of your cruelty. You both deserve the consequences of your actions." "Ryan, what are you going to do now?" "I've started my own coffee shop, Dad. I used the money from the loan I took out on the house. It's a fresh start. A chance for me to build a life where I can find happiness and leave behind the painful memories." "Good luck with your little coffee shop, Ryan. It won't amount to anything." "Well, see, Kiara, I've learnt that true revenge lies in finding success and happiness despite adversity. And as for you, Dad, it's not too late to make amends." As time went by, my coffee shop blossomed, becoming a haven where people found good food and joy. It was through this newfound success that I discovered the true meaning of revenge, finding my own path to happiness and prosperity, leaving the pain of my past behind. Months turned into seasons, and my father and stepmother would occasionally visit my coffee shop. their faces filled with regret and longing. They would plead with me, asking to be taken back, believing they had suffered enough for their actions. But for me, that was never an option. Not after all they had put me through. What brings you both here? Have you come to realize the consequences of your actions? Ryan, we've suffered enough. We miss you and we want you back. Please let us make amends. Make amends? You both treated me with disdain and cruelty for years. I enjoyed countless hardships under this roof. Do you honestly think a simple plea for forgiveness erases all that pain? Ryan! Your mother's passing was hard on all of us. Kiara and I made mistakes, but we're willing to change. Please give us a chance. Change should have come back when you saw how Kiara treated me, Dad. But it didn't. I won't let myself be dragged back into that toxic environment. I've built something for myself now, and I won't sacrifice my happiness for you both. You were always such a good kid, Ryan. We let you down, but we're willing to do anything to make it right. You had your chance, Kiara. Now it's time to face the consequences of your actions. The house you kicked me out of, the house that once belonged to us, has been seized by the bank. It was a surprise I left for you both. What? How could you do such a thing? It was my way of finally breaking free from the pain you caused me. I took the money from the loan on the house and started this coffee shop. I found my own path to success, happiness and independence. And so I moved forward, leaving behind the toxic environment that had consumed my childhood. My dad and Kiara have lost the house, but in the end, it was I who had gained freedom and a chance to create a life filled with contentment and peace.